talking at exactly at 7.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Work With Me, Study With Me. Tonight is Research With Me.
I am so excited that you're all here. I cannot wait to spoil you. And for those of you who just came to be spoiled with the content, I think you're going to be really excited with what I have to teach you today about how to make your research more meaningful to you and make it come alive. So let's start by everybody in the comments writing your topic. So write your topic down. Everybody write your topic in the comments. So whatever it is you're researching, and if you're anything that you're researching, hi Candy, so happy to have you. Hi Adabella. So Adabella, you would write what you're writing about, because I know you're always writing your stories. So today we're going to work on whatever you're writing or research. Hi Ari. Hi beautiful Clara. Hey Abby. Abby, I was listening to some Riot Girls, feeling the vibe for you today. Hi CJ. I love it. I love all the good energy. Hi Daisy. Okay, so in the comments, we are not writing about plugged nostrils, although that is very interesting. We could research what plugged the nostrils. We are going to get a little deeper into what is your topic you're researching. What is your topic you're researching?
What is your
So in honor of our first group that was here, I'm going to do my example on Dorothea Dix. Okay, so the thing that I would type in the chat right now would be, I'm researching Dorothea Dix, although that's a person, not a topic. So maybe one of you is researching how she helped the mentally ill. Maybe another one of you is researching how Dorothea Dix built the nursing to help the Union Army win the Civil War. Maybe another one of you is researching specifically how Dorothea Dix's work put women involved in nursing. So let's get our narrow topic of research today. Okay, good. Our first one is here. I'm so proud of you.
Ooh.
This is She
I
talked
want
about
to hear more about this street photographer.
Yeah, this is genius. Street photographer Henry Cartier-Bresson. Okay, this is fantastic. Okay, so we've got
I'll look them up right
Henry.
now.
Okay, what is great about her answer is it's not too broad. Henry Cartier-Bresson is a specific person. Okay, so we've got in our head a specific person. Now, the way our brains work is we work through stories. So long before we ever had writing, or in civilizations that didn't have writing, everybody at night before they go to bed would sit around the campfire and tell stories. And stories, no matter what culture you live in, no matter what time frame you are from, stories all have a moral. They all have a theme, right? And the reason they have a theme is because they're solving a problem. So if you know the story's problem, you know the story's theme. So for example, the one that just came in, they're researching Carrie Nation. She's this very, very important figure in Seneca Falls. Well, let me tell you what Carrie Nation's problem is. Carrie Nation lived in a time in the US where only men could work and only men got paid. And a lot of those men were alcoholics. So they would get their paycheck, they would go to the bar, and they would cash the paycheck in at the bar, and then they would stay there and drink all night long. Or they'd owe money from the month before. So when they went to cash their paycheck in, they would keep most of the money. So when they went home to feed their wives and children, there was no money left. And so women and children all across the United States had no food and literally no houses because the husbands were drinking the paycheck. And since women didn't have rights because they were men's property, they had no way to get money to pay for their kids. So Carrie Nation got super mad. And she got a hatchet, a big axe, and her teetotaler friends went into the bar one day and they smashed everything with their axes, and they stood on the tables and they screamed to get rid of alcohol. They screamed to make it illegal, and it worked. They passed an amendment to the United States Constitution making it illegal to buy alcohol. And then men started bringing their paychecks home. Children started getting fed. Women started having places to live. Now, another way to solve this problem would just be let women work. or let women have access to owning property. But they didn't try that. Instead, they went after alcohol. What an interesting problem, and what an interesting way to solve that problem. And that's called prohibition. And that is how you make research interesting. The key then is to know what is the problem. So if Clara is writing about this big topic, the Great Pyramids, that's too much to understand. You want to preserve the pyramids. What's the problem? So now everybody in the text, tell me, what is the problem? What is the thing, the right that's being threatened? That's your problem, right? So for Carrie Nation, the problem was that the women's right to food and housing and to take care of their children, their rights to take care of their children were being threatened by alcoholism. So what did she do? She got an axe and she busted up some bars and she protested until the laws changed and it was illegal to drink alcohol at all. The whole country went dry. There's no alcohol. Well, no legal alcohol. Yes, Candy, I would love to help you find a topic. Oh, Miss Valverde, do you remember there was a topic I was just saying that I was like, I wish.
Oh, yes. The next one you said it was going to be, it was good. January 6th.
January 6th. Okay. Candy, I don't know if you're interested in this, but I think this would be a really, really good topic. The problem is that on January 6th, a few years ago, 4 years ago, instead of peacefully handing power between Donald Trump to Joe Biden, a bunch of supporters stormed the Capitol. They broke into places and they trashed our Capitol and they threatened to kill police officers. And one police officer even died. And they were going to overthrow our government. And it was the first time in the entire U.S. history that violence was in our Capitol. They threatened to hang our vice president at the time. And you know what? It got so crazy that they even took a Confederate flag from the South, a slavery flag, into the chambers of Congress. It's the first time in human history we'd ever had a Confederate flag in Congress. That's the flag of our enemies. And now they're going through and trying to make it better. But what makes America great is that when one candidate loses, they peacefully say, okay, I lost, it's your turn. What if they don't do that? What if they don't uphold the right to protect that? So that's one idea. Candy, another thing you could do is just tell me in the chat what you want to do when you grow up, what you're interested in for an occupation, and I'll find you one that can help you get scholarships and move you on your way. Okay, good. So Clara, you've done a nice job of linking it into the thesis here. Oh, this is great, Abby, that you're listening to the presidential debate. That's fantastic. Jace, great job. But I don't have you guys written is a problem. I just want you to tell me the problem. So what is the problem to preserving the pyramids? Well, I'll tell you one. Pyramids get old. Okay, so how am I thinking of problems? I have to ask questions. And the question I'm asking is, what's wrong? So Clara, ask yourself, what's wrong that we have to preserve the pyramids? Why do I have to do something? What's actually wrong? So one of them, hi, Emma, we're talking about problems. In fact, Emma, yours is a really easy one for this. So Emma's problem is that Native American women are disappearing. They're literally just vanishing. And to make that problem worse, the FBI doesn't care. Local police officers don't care. Hundreds of indigenous women are vanishing all of the states, and no one cares. So Emma's going to care. Her topic powerful and interesting and insightful. That's what makes the research fun. But Emma, if you don't care about your problem, if you don't care about teaching me about the stories of the women that are lost, then why should I as an audience care about you? So if I don't know what my problem is, I can't make my audience care. So if I don't know, Abby did such a great job with this. Abby came in at Saturday school and she's doing Riot Girls. And we were narrowing that thesis. And she was looking at the lyrics of Riot Girls. And she realized that they were talking about domestic abuse. They were talking about husbands beating their wives. And Abby's like, oh my goodness. And they were talking about all kinds of assaults against women. And so she looked it up. Because she's smart. She asked questions. She said, was violence for women a problem in the 1990s? And guess what she found? statistic after statistic after statistic saying that this was a huge problem. So if you don't know what the problem is, you need to look it up. So Clara would look up, why are the pyramids, what's happening with the pyramids? Who's hurting the pyramids? Why do the pyramids need to be preserved? What's wrong with the pyramids? And all those searches are going to give you different ways to think about your problem. What is the problem with the pyramids? You could type that in. You could literally type in, what problem was Riot Grrrls trying to solve? Or you could just think about it like, okay, Dorothea Dix, what problem was she trying to solve? Tell me.
So, and we want to make sure that you understand that problem and that you're addressing it in your project, because every single project that you complete needs to tell the story of your topic. And identifying that problem right away helps you develop all the ideas around that so that your story is very clear and it helps support your thesis all the way through.
So, Abby, your topic is not just domestic violence, it's violence against women, right? Because it's going to include rape and it's going to include sexual harassment. Or here's the question in the chat, or do you just want to do domestic violence? What is the problem you are passionate about? If you're not passionate about your research, you're not going to want to research it. So your topic has to be something that you understand. This is a problem. And I am one of the few people in the world who's going to make a difference. I'm not just going to sit here and be like other people who do nothing. Because I have the power, I'm going to research it. I'm going to tell other people about it. I'm going to create solutions. And this isn't just how you get scholarships and get A's. This is how you have a fulfilling, happy life. This is how you set yourself up for a life where you do amazing things. Mrs. Stevens believes that education has a problem. She firmly believes that there is not enough teachers who care enough about their students to teach them to ask questions, think critically, and push them to be better than they are. So she tries to solve this problem by creating Flair Educators, which is a group of teachers who push each other to make our students smarter and better. And I don't just do this in theory. What are we doing right now? I'm doing it in practice. And what does that do? That makes me feel good about who I am. That makes me love my job even more. It makes me care more about you. And the more I care about you, the better you do in life. So this is about passion and buy-in. And that ultimately is about happiness and success and feeling good about being you, because you're here to make a difference. And research gives us that gift in a way that nothing else can. There's nothing that can give us the gift like that, except really thinking about a problem and starting to find solutions and caring in a way that other people can't. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Jimena.
So Candy said she's interested in being a teacher. So some of those, do you have a topic in mind? Because, I mean, we have access to education in a few ways, but we could have equal access. You could talk about, let's see, what are some other ideas?
I would love to see her do the fact that we all have a right to education and then we have a responsibility to make the most of it. I think that would be incredible to go to judges and say, just because we have a right to education isn't enough. We have the responsibility to make the most of it. And Candy, you're here right now making the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be that inspiring person saying, just because they give me something for free doesn't mean I use it to the capacity I should. I'm getting this free education. I should use it to change myself, to be better. And we say in horses, we say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, There you go. Okay, Janeth, what's the problem then? So Janeth says, Dorothea Dix pushed for training opportunities for women in nursing. So what's the problem? The problem is, who was nurses before? Why did they need nurses? Why did women want to become nurses? Start asking why, like when you were a little kid.
Yeah, why did they need more training opportunities?
I'm looking for a good problem statement. And if I get a good enough one, I'm going to give you 20 points extra credit on your test on Thursday. Candy would be an amazing teacher. In fact, today she did her skit. Oh my gosh, you guys. It was so good. The research was the best of any group I've seen. The details were phenomenal. And I got to act in it, so that was amazing. Okay, here's my problem statement. I want to hear the problem is that Ulysses is a good start. Ulysses says she, but I don't know who she was trying to solve the treatment of people with poor mental health. Well, what was that treatment? So now you're getting on and Googling. I need details. How were mentally ill people treated? What was the problem? Where were they being placed? What were they doing? So Candy, what is the problem with school? Is the problem that your teachers aren't good enough? Is the problem that we don't take it seriously? Is the problem that we're not in school too much, that we're in school too little? Is the problem that what? What do you think? Looking for statements to say the problem is.
Do we have anyone?
Let's see what we can get. I love Emma's comment about being dedicated. This is where motivation comes from. I'm reading all these motivational experts right now, and they say the top thinkers, really bright, intelligent people, ask more questions. They ask 10 times more questions than regular people. So the difference between somebody who's really intelligent is not if they know the answer, it's if they ask the question. So when you're asking questions, you're actually becoming more intelligent. Okay, Ulysses, her top one at 709 is pretty good. Dorothea, what's wrong with Dorothea Dix? So if you change it to the problem with Dorothea Dix's time period or whatever, the problem is that people with mental health issues were being treated horribly. That's a great start. Tell me how they were being treated. Okay, here we go. Oh, Jocelyn for the win. She always has such good ones. The problem is that women weren't treated good. Okay, how? How were they not treated? What were they denied?
Well, Ms. Stevens, do you know anything about Margaret Bancroft?
Margaret Bancroft. Hi, Anthony. We're doing research today.
So I just looked up real quick women who broke barriers in education for Candy. And Margaret Bancroft, it says that she opened the first boarding school for children with developmental delays when she was 25.
Okay, men and women were not treated equally during the 1800s. This is good. Women wouldn't feel heard or seen because men believed they needed powerful. Okay. So just because I don't feel good, is that a problem? Like maybe I don't feel happy. Is that a problem? Or is it a problem that they don't let me vote? That they don't let me own property? Maybe the problem is that if my husband gets tired of me, he can tell people I'm crazy and throw me in a prison. And if I say, no, I'm not crazy, they don't listen to me because I'm a woman. That seems like a problem. Maybe it's a problem that if my husband divorces me, he gets control of the kids and I don't get any control because I'm a woman, and children at that time were considered property. Maybe it's a problem that my husband can legally beat me and that I cannot even sue him in court because I'm a woman and I have no rights in court. So he can beat me. And the only way he can be held accountable is if my brother, my son, or my dad file a lawsuit. Okay, we're getting tighter, but treated fairly. How? So you got to keep really look into the details, because we can't just argue that they weren't treated fairly. Then we just sound like we're whining. Like, oh, I'm not being treated fairly because Jocelyn and Ulyssa and Abby and Janet, they're all getting talkies and I'm not getting talkies. And then I say, well, did you go to the live show on Tuesday? No. Well, then so how? Prove your point. Like what? What were they not getting treated? What Jasmine come up with? I love it. I love that you guys when you find good ones, say yes like you just did. That was great, Abby, what you're doing. Ooh, Janet's got a good one. The problem is that the mentally ill were being treated inhumane. Now we're getting better. Good. Modern society was neglecting and imprisoning the mentally ill. Okay, so
That's
they couldn't
good.
get medical care. That's what you're talking about. Doctors wouldn't help them. They couldn't get medical treatment sometimes. They would throw them in jail. Instead of sending them to a hospital or a doctor because they didn't know what to do with them, they just locked them in a cell. Good. And their basic rights to what? To life, to liberty, to property, to free healthcare, to safety. Now we got to go back to that rights discussion. What kind of rights? This is getting good, you guys. Oh, I love that, Clara. This is great. This is great. So if you don't know, she told me, check your phone because it's got a lot of words. That's great. Yeah, I like that you're like, it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but you can see how as we get the problem clear, that's our thesis. So when we're writing a paper, when we're researching, when we're getting our dissertation, when we're changing the world, we have to be really clear about what our problem is. So here's Clara's. The problem is that the bodies of people that were in the pyramids that were built to protect them and give them an afterlife are disappearing. It is our responsibility to guard and protect the treasure for eternity. Okay, good. So the problem is that the bodies of people. So who were these people and who were they protecting them from? What does the pyramids need to be protected from? Okay, answer that question. What does the pyramids need to be protected from? Abby, same question to you. What do these women need to be protected from? Same question to you, Seneca Falls. What do the women need to be protected from? Dorothea Dix. Who is throwing, that was brilliant analysis you did. Who is throwing them in these mental insane or these prisons? Who is neglecting them? Okay, domestic violence and neglect would be on very opposite ends of the spectrum. So neglect means I don't look at you, I don't talk to you. Domestic violence is I pay so much attention to you that if you step out of line, I beat you. So we don't want to think that domestic violence is an example of neglect. Those are two different problems. One problem is I ignore you, I don't give you attention. Another problem is I pay so much attention to you that I beat you or beat you down. Yes, honey. Repeat what I was saying about. Am I repeating about neglect and domestic violence? How they're
no, opposite? I think that came in before that.
Okay. Do you remember what she's talking about there?
I don't know what she's asking for you to repeat.
Clara, now we're getting some genius answers. Here's what Clara said. What is
the
she
rates
for
both?
From?
Oh, go ahead.
She's protecting it from robbers, time and age and weather, right? The years of weather. So in your documentary, you have to lay out the threats, lay out the villains of your story. So in research, you still have villains. So if your hero is Dorothea Dix, what is the villain? Now here, Janeth, let me blow your mind. Is your villain going to be the mental illness itself, which nobody can control? Or is that, because it could be that we all have to battle mental illness, or is the villain going to be people who ignore the marginalized? So is your villain going to be the idea that people who are comfortable and have power don't care about people who have hard lives? Or is your villain going to be the mental illness itself? And if you choose the mental illness itself, you can't do the nursing part. But if you choose that the villain is people who ignore people who need help, that's perfect for both pieces of Dorothea Dix. I hope that makes sense. That was kind of complicated. Ooh, you list out hospital workers. Is that for Dorothea Dix? Because they're not allowed in hospitals, right? Or are they?
A mental asylum, maybe? Is it asylum worker?
There are no asylums yet. She makes them protect they're homeless and thrown in prisons. They're dying in the streets.
Oh, okay. So then it would be the prison guards. Yeah. Abby says wait, hold on. Something about 1990. I lost it.
Janeth's is perfect. Janeth, what you just wrote was
she said, perfect. What are the rates for both in the 1990s? I can't check because it'll stop the live. If neglect or domestic violence is higher or lower.
Google it.
90s. Yeah, Google it and find out.
That's brilliant. That is the question.
Yeah.
That's brilliant research. And then you put that in your annotated bibliography and you look up that exact fact and it goes exactly, I learned from this source that I asked this question. Here's what I learned. There's your paragraph, done. And that's how we get to 100 sources. It's questions like Abby just did. Every question you're looking up is a source. You put your source in. That's brilliant research. It's fast, it's easy, it's interesting, and you're telling a story. One of the ones I'm really in love with is, I love how you list is like, yeah, the ignorers are the problem. That's great. But I'm in love with this one by Jimena. The villain is the people who ignore the problem.
Oh.
Yes. You can use that for all of these. That genius.
That's everyone.
Brilliant, Jimena. The villain for her is people who ignore the problem. They know there's a problem and they do nothing to help solve it. Yes. Yes. That's so
Abby, I'm going to go to your document from last week.
Look at this beautiful one. I think it's from Daisy.
Women
were seen as, oh, sorry.
No, Esperanza and Candy were, you're still thinking about your topic. So Candy had said something in education. So we've kind of thrown a few ideas out. But just go ahead and do a few searches. Like, what are controversial topics in education? Who are people who change the world of education? Or
top 10 problems of education.
Mm-hmm.
Top 10 problems of education. That's where I'd start. You could go to top 10 problems with Dorothea Dix life, or top 10 problems Seneca Falls was trying to solve. That would be great for Seneca Falls. Oh, that would be fantastic. Oh, this is great. Men would be able to take the children because they were considered more important. They had rights. Exactly. So that's the problem. Men are given more rights than women. We don't get the same rights. So the problem is we're not treated equally. And so we don't have access to jobs. We don't have access to making laws, to voting, to owning property, to protecting our children, to protecting ourselves. I love this. This is good. Abby, I wonder if women who let men abuse other women or are silent are just as guilty as the men who do it. And I also wonder if women can abuse other women. No answer there. Just think about. Just remember, smart people ask questions. Yes, Janet. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And then now research who has the power to start putting it in your annotated bibliography. Who had the power at the time to help but didn't? Who was throwing them in jail? It's not the jailers who throw them in jail. Somebody else is throwing them in jail. Janet, right on. The problem was that the people with power were neglecting the mentally ill. Dorothea Dix decided to take a stand. She advocated for the basic rights of those. Yes, and those are the villains. Good. Now, okay. You've got your problem. Now you're going to go out and research the details of your problem. That's how you populate your annotated bib. So using Janeth's statement, you can ask questions like, who had the power? When did they have the power? Why did they neglect them? What was considered mentally ill? Why did Dorothea decide to take a stand? How did she take a stand? Who helped her? Who fought against her? What were the basic rights that they deserved? There's 9 questions to research from her one problem statement. Yeah, so if women could abuse other women, find out if Riot Girls sang about that. Did they only sing about abuse from men? Or did Riot Girls think any kind of abuse was a problem? Any abuser was the villain. This is great. Okay, you've got your problem statements. Now, we're telling a story we care about. So, for example, for Dorothea Dix, she finds out these mentally ill people are being thrown in prisons, homeless, they're dying in the streets. She finds out they're literally being locked behind bars without a trial and just left there to die. And she does not believe in this, right? And so she sets out to solve the problem. So now The next question you have to ask is, how did your historical person solve the problem? Person or event or place. How did your historical person solve the problem? Riot Girls, your answer is very easy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, she just hit it. Our ret sub hit is brilliant. This is brilliant. The problem is that sharing your experience with abuse wasn't generalized. Can we change the word to generalized to accepted? This is brilliant. This needs to go in your, this goes on your board. This goes on your board. Your board has this, Riot Girls, this is perfect.
Yeah.
The problem is that sharing your experience with abuse wasn't accepted, wasn't acceptable, wasn't, it was
People
looked down on.
Listen.
Yeah.
Want
maybe
listen.
Even frowned upon. What a great line. Maybe even frowned upon. Brilliant. This goes on your board. This is student composed words. This is brilliant. Most people would just tell you to stay quiet. And then what did the Riot Girls do to solve the problem? They brought it out in the open. They sang about it. They talked about it. This must go on your board. Brilliant. Make sure that that's copied in that board. Oh, love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, Riot Girls. That's fantastic work. Yes, the Riot Girls movement empowered women to share their stories. Again, on the board. That's perfect. That's student composed words. Now we're writing the board. That's amazing. Yes, Janice. She opened mental hospitals. And so even though people today think mental hospitals were bad, they were a gift when she did it. It wasn't until the government took them over that they became bad. When she ran them, they were kind, they were compassionate, they provided food and shelter and medical care with real doctors instead of being thrown in jail. She used all of her money, all of her time, all of her love to help people who couldn't help themselves. I mean, this is an angel. If I was half the woman she was, I mean, I can't even imagine.
If you're still thinking of a topic, my husband mentioned something on the way home today. He said that there's a big disagreement about the impact of AI on the environment and the use of resources.
I've read a lot about that. That would be great.
Yeah.
Also, should AI have legal rights? Should AI be treated like people? Should AI be allowed to be your teachers? There's your education topic, Candy.
Yeah.
Do you want to co-teach with an AI, Candy, or should you be in charge? Melissa has this really great comment. I really love this, what she wrote. I just want to pull it out. It's so good. I love how you guys are talking back and forth. Thank you so much, those of you who are active and you're participating and you're chatting with me. I see you. I hear you. I'm really proud of you. Yeah.
This one, she said Dorothea Dix solved the problem by giving the mentally ill a voice.
Yeah, but you know what else, Dorothea Dix? She didn't just give them a voice. She gave them mental clarity. Because they were so deprived that they felt crazy. But when you get people on their meds and you get them in a safe environment and you get them healthy and you get them food, they get themselves back. Not just a voice, but like their own sanity, their own like safety, security. So yes, and I love where you're going, but go more with that. She gives them more than just a voice. Riot Girls gives them a voice, but Dorothea Dix gives them life, liberty, happiness, more. She can do more, I think. Let's
there's a couple other topics brought up. AI and art.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Shein, that clothing brand, right?
Yeah, Shein that was Abby's idea, I think, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like any kind of like, should we boycott? We're talking about this in class. Should we boycott unethical things? Like Americans boycotted the Stamp Act and we boycotted the Townshend Act. And we're like, if you're going to tax us, we're not going to buy your stuff. Should we do that for child labor? I say yes. I think that would be great. I want to read this one from Clara too. I like it a lot. Dr. Zaki Hallis cared about the pyramids of Giza, so he solved the problem by having an action. Having an action. What kind of action? I wonder. Maybe by taking action. Maybe that would be a stronger word there.
Mm-hmm.
He started unlocking treasures. Ooh. So he opens up the pyramids to preserve the pyramids. Is that what we're saying? And then by making them look like a jewel, other people want to preserve them. Okay. So he teaches people their value. Brilliant. Because now you can use that in your movie about jewels and about what we value as a society and about how we have to value these pyramids. Clara, I think you're onto something really good there. We need to fine tune the wording, but I like where you're going. Yeah, this is great. Okay. So you're all of you who are chatting with me right now. I'm getting really excited about how smart you are.
And they're so engaged and they have so many great ideas and they just want to talk about topics. This is amazing. Yes.
And so now this is what you're going to do. Good for Abby. Yeah, it makes more sense, right? So in your History Day topic, you are getting me, the regular person, to care. Just like when you write a story or a poem. And how do you do that? You make a human care by having a problem and a solution. Harry Potter's problem is that he lives with the Dursleys and he's locked under the stairs and no one cares about him. But there's a solution. He's a wizard and he gets to go to Hogwarts. And so all the time he's fighting for a family. He's fighting to connect, to belong, to make a difference. And it ends successfully for him. And that story is why we love the journey. Pick your favorite movie, any favorite book. It starts with a problem. It has a solution. The solution's not easy. Voldemort is such a big villain that he doesn't even have a name. If I don't make that problem seem real, if I don't feel the hunger in the bellies of mentally ill people who are kicked out on the streets, if I don't feel the insanity, if I don't hear the voices in my head, then I can't relate with what she did when she alleviated that. If I don't know why Abraham Lincoln needed nurses, why do I care if nurses showed up? The more time you build the problem, the more you care about the solution. Don't give me a quick solution. Riot Grrrls didn't just sing a song and fix domestic violence. It's still here. We have to sing about it too. We have to talk about it too. Jimena said it so beautifully. She's like, who are the villains? The people who ignore the problem. So we have to carry on what the Riot Grrrls did. That's our responsibility, right? Our responsibility is to care. Dorothea Dix to care for the marginalized. Seneca Falls, we can vote now. It's our job as women to vote. It's our job to get politically involved. It's our job to care about our rights. We can't just sit back and say, okay, they gave us rights, it's fine. No. Now we have to vote. We have to hold office. We have to pass good laws. We have to do the right thing with our vote. We have to vote for good people, right? I read half of one in fourth grade.
So they're talking about Harry Potter. Emma's asking if they write the topic and stories on the annotated bibliography.
That would be great. You could put the problem at the top of your annotated bib, and then you can ask questions from it, and that'll inspire your research. I think that's really smart, Emma. I like that. If you have scripts, what a great place to put your problem. Mm-hmm. Because a script, if you're a performance, so I'm talking to you guys, all of you who are performing. So Emma, I'm definitely talking to you. If you're a performance, you need to start your performance with the problem. Try to have solutions. They don't work out. And make the audience wait till the end and then finally have the solution at the end. That's what makes a great performance. So Seneca Falls, we have to fight for our rights. And we have to talk about Seneca Falls, almost your whole thing are these really powerful speeches about different problems women were facing. And they have to be detailed. You have to get up and tell the story from your heart about why Carrie Nation was so mad. And wouldn't it be fun to have an actual hatchet in her hands and have her break something in the middle of the performance? That would be so great. Like get so mad that you break something and you're like, I'm sick of these kids, like so angry about children and women dying because their husbands were drinking their paychecks. We're going crazy. What's happening? Did I lose them all?
I don't know what's going on. They've gone
Okay,
crazy.
no,
They're just saying things. There's emojis.
Okay, well, we're ready for our final part of the story process. So we have our problem. We're going to solve it, but it's going to be hard and emotional. It's going to involve detailed research. And this is your assignment for today. You are going to write a 1-minute speech about, from the character's perspective, about what you're going through. So if you're in the Riot Girls group, you're going to pick one of the singers and you're going to talk about the problem and what they've lived. So Emma, you're going to write a 1-page experience about what it's like to lose your mom and not know where she is. But you don't make it up just from yourself. You have to research what kind of cars they drove, what kind of smells they wore, what kind of fashion she wore at the time. So that when you tell your story, it's holistic.
Yeah. And this is for every group, not just for performances, because it helps you get in the mind space of understanding your topic. And it also helps you prepare for the research and for presenting that to the judges when you have your interviews. So it's for every single topic, not just performances.
So when they ask you, why did you pick this topic? You can say, I related to the character, and you can go into this speech and move the judges so that they want to give you first. And so that more importantly than your placement, they actually care about the problem. So when you go to interview with the news or the superintendent, it's not just about how pretty you are and how cute you look, which of course you do, but it's more about teaching them about how mental illness is still a problem. We still have to care. We still have to create equal access. Teaching them that domestic violence against women is still a problem. We still have to do more, right? Yes, keep it suspenseful. And then if you can have little moments of humor, like tension, humor, and then in the end, like the release, that's brilliant writing. That's top level novel writing. It's amazing history day writing. It's human connection. It's me caring about you and you caring about me, and like meaning like seeping from it. So Clara, you're going to pretend to be an archaeologist who spent your whole life trying to protect these pyramids against the weather and time and robbers and politicians who don't care and all these people. And you're just telling me like, no, this is my life's work. Like, why do you care so much about these beautiful buildings? What did they give us? Ooh, Janet, that's powerful. So when you write this speech, you're going to say I. So Janet's character is Dorothea Dix. So she's going to start with, I lived in a toxic family. Let me tell you about it. And then start teaching me the story of what that means.
Kind of like an interview. Yeah, you could think of it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you have that connection, performances, it's gonna end up in your piece. Hopefully, it's gonna be. I'm gonna teach you how to be the character. This is the characterization, right? So if you're Frederick Douglass, you need to do this for him. If you're Dorothea Dix, you do this for her. If you're Carrie Nations, you do this for her. So you start to kind of become this. Okay, where do you want to write this? What a brilliant question. Do you want to write it in a separate document? Do you want me to make
let me just, I have Google Classroom open. You know what? Let me just do like a question on Google Classroom and they can just answer that way.
Okay, let's talk about cuss words. As long as your parents are okay with them, because parents first, that's most important. I am totally fine with keeping them in as long as they're primary source cuss words. Do you know what that means? Primary source. It means you didn't do the cussing. The historical character did the cussing. So it's not made up. We didn't do it. That person used that word for a reason. And we're not changing their words because we're not dishonoring them. But if your parents feel differently, we always listen to our parents first.
I think, oh, well, that was nice.
Silverde, I think you should answer Emma's question.
Yeah. I think because I'm very, like, my family doesn't use that language. I don't use that language. So for us, it's like, no. But I understand that in some situations, especially like with our Riot Girls topic, where there may have been language like that in the song, that's a form of art and it's a form of expression. And I can understand the use there. So in that case, if it's like Ms. Stevens said, the author's words or the first person, whatever it is that you're using, the source, if it's directly from the source, then that's okay. But definitely not in your analysis of that information, because you want your analysis to be like in a professional tone.
When you get these ready, I'm going to let you share them with all kinds of people. So this is going to be a fun way for you to start to share them with different teachers, like parents, people, to understand your character. So make sure you use language that you're proud of. If I grab you and say, all right, let's go show Mr. Morris that what you've done. Let's go show Dr. Tuttle what you've done.
And if you're uncomfortable with using that language, but you feel like it still needs to be included, we don't have to put the actual word. We can put like, you know, the edited word with like asterisk signs.
You cannot. You may not break that. That is not the rules.
Mm-mm. Okay, never mind. I don't know.
This is history, not English. And in history, we have to be true to the primary source. So we can choose to use a different quote, or we can cut the quote off, but you cannot use asterisks. You can use a ... which is called an ellipses, but that's used for big phrases. I asked that question at my History Day coaching because you guys asked me, and those are the History Day rules.
Okay, good to know.
And as the historian, I'm sorry, but I stand by them. I don't think it's appropriate for us to change. They lived this experience. They chose those words because of what they experienced. And I find it offensive that we would change it because we don't think it's appropriate.
Okay.
That's us judging them, and I'm not comfortable with that.
That's a good point.
So that's a fine line between. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? That we are judging what's appropriate. Like they're trying to tell their story, and then we're saying we don't approve of the way you tell your story, so we're going to tell it differently. Now we can leave that out. We can also do warnings and disclaimers, they said, and that's what they ask you to do. You do a little warning. But the most important thing is that your parents are okay with that.
Yeah.
If your parents aren't okay with that, we should pick a different topic. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Think of who's going to see it in your family. Make sure they're okay with it. I see some topics. Oh, did you see?
Candy's is brilliant in Esperanza. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I love these guys. Oh my goodness. I like any of those. We can rock and roll with any of those. Mm-hmm. Any that you love. I love it. I love it. I love. Yeah, real. School dress code. Yeah. Well, I don't know if older people like. I think you're going to do better with challenges faced by students with disabilities, especially challenges like faced by emotionally disturbed kids. So think of kids who like shoot up schools or are involved in cutting or get violent in the classroom. How do we give them equal access to education? That one's very challenging. And we're all very passionate about it because we want them to have equal access, but we also want our classrooms to be safe. So that one, if you want to go for controversy, that one's controversial. Yeah, recent shootings, I think you're right. And everybody, we should take a moment of silence for everyone in Georgia. That was really traumatic.
Yeah.
Okay, Emma. Candy does have a big brain. We love her. Bye, sweetheart. Okay, so old people are kind of stubborn. I agree with that.
They can be. I wouldn't say all of them are.
No, I think it's true. Their brain actually calcifies as they get older, and the myelinization sheet's harder, and that's what creates stubbornness. It's biology. It's going to happen to you, too.
You're going to be an old, stubborn person someday. Just you wait.
Okay. What else do we need to do? I think that's it. So today.
So I just added a question on our Google Classroom that says, tell me the story of your problem, 1 minute speech. So you can put it there.
Okay. You need to sign out so that I know who gets talkies. So who are my people? And then I'll say goodbye to you, and you are off to a great life. I think you're writing me really passionate speeches. I can't wait to hear them. This is like my favorite.
I know this. I'm looking forward to reading these. These are going to be awesome.
I think it'll be fun if the group all picks different people too. Yasmin, you're good. I love it.
That would
Great.
be really helpful to understanding everyone in their skit, especially.
Ulysses, sweetheart, thanks for coming. Alexa, you're the best. Have a great day. Jocelyn, you're so sweet. I thank you for always being you. You're just the best. Janet in the house. She's a powerhouse intellect. Jimena's the one who made the scrolls in my classroom. I just go hold those because I love them so much.
Yeah. Abby.
Bye. Abby, love it. Love your honesty, girl. You keep it up.
Candy.
Thank you, guys. Daisy. Thank you, Daisy. That means the world to me. I really wanted it to be helpful and fun and meaningful. And Candy, you are the best. Jocelyn is very nice, and so are you.
Esperanza.
Bye, beautiful.
Vanessa,
super, super bright girl. Today I had him do a thing, pair share. She didn't have a partner. She turned and just started talking to the air, and I was like, this is the best I've ever had. I've never had a student that smart. I was like,
really? I'm just going to talk.
Yeah, and I would listen to her. I was like, this is great. Clara in the house. I hope you're having a better day, sweetheart. I thought about you all day. I was like, sending love. I was like taking little breaks, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I love her, and I hope it's a good day. Emma, good job. Oh, Emma, you and I had such a great day today. Emma and I, we got her script started. We are on fire today. Mia, we love you. Her topic is she's doing the puppy topic. Oof. And Aria is amazing. Aria and Abby. Yeah, thank you guys. Have a great, great day. We didn't have any
thank you.
Tinker today. I wonder if they forgot or just
we didn't. Well, I don't know.
Bye everyone.
All right. Bye everyone. Have a good night. We'll see you at school.
These guys are awesome.